If you type Mahindra Scorpio on Google, there is a strong probability that all the 10 pages of the search engine will be filled with spy shots. That's because a zillion spy shots have been spotted of this SUV from different parts of the country. Kabhi headlight, to kabhi tail light, kabhi sunroof, to kabhi bumper. But is this SUV, the much awaited Scorpio-N, worth the hype? Can it retain its rugged DNA that it was known for, or it's too sophisticated for our liking? Hello and welcome back to Shutterdrives. We are in Lonavala to bring out the true honest review of Mahindra Scorpio-N for you guys. You know, the first generation of Mahindra Scorpio, the Nothing Else Will Do, was launched. The car was beautiful to look at with the small tail lamps and lovely proportionate design. And every iteration of the Mahindra Scorpio after that is known for the beautiful design language the car carries over. And with this, the Scorpio-N, the same philosophy is continued here with the absolutely stunning design. To start off with, you do get the beautiful looking double barrel LED projector setup for the headlamp, the illumination of which is going to be very critical, and we'll check it out tonight. And then you have the vertically slated chrome strips that actually complement the overall look of the car, and especially in this black color, these chrome strips look as beautiful as it can get. And then there is this Mahindra's new double petal logo that is actually nice, and Mahindra says that going forward all their cars will have this logo. Moving downwards, you do get these beautifully looking DRLs which are in C shape, and their front parking sensors. Honestly, when we were coming here, there were a couple of obstructions and which the car wonders about. Very interesting indeed. And then you have the silver cladding below the front bumper that actually resonates with the chrome styling here, making the car look very beautiful. This is my favorite angle in the all new Scorpio-N. Mahindra makes the best alloy wheel design in the country. Okay, at least one of the best. And for a crucial product like Scorpio, they wouldn't want to mess it up. The 18-inch alloy wheels look very nice, and they are actually quite striking, especially with the slightly italic design on this plating here. And they are running on the MRF tires for some, and I think I saw some of the Scorpios being equipped with the Apollo tires in the factory. Body on frame SUVs with rear wheel drive especially are known for the crazy boxy design, but does the all new Scorpio-N live up to its legacy? Of course yes. Just look at this design, how robust, how rugged it looks, and it goes exactly in the books of the Scorpio's legacy design. Even for most of the manufacturers made it prominent, Mahindra always ensured to have request sensors in most of their top-end cars, and the Scorpio-N is absolutely no difference. But wait a second, how do you enter this monster of an SUV with insane commanding position? There is side steps for that. Mahindra has got your back, and of course there are these silver finished roof rails which complement the car. And like I said, since this is a black car, the design elements are just getting interesting and more interesting. In case you wondered what this fancy design language here is all about, this resembles the sting of this Scorpion. That's how Mahindra is meticulous in terms of their design language. So there's a small trivia of this Adrenonics badge which I'm craving to tell you guys. So basically this badge made its place in the XUV700 as well, in front of the front left fender. And we pointed out in our review that this looks very odd, this looks out of place. You know what happened after a month? We got a call from Mahindra like, hey, we learned about your video where we went through your video where you told that this badge looks very odd, it looks out of place. And guess what? Mahindra actually removed that badge after the feedback, and you know what? This badge still looks odd. We are going to open the bonnet of the Scorpio, and trust me, I do not know if it gets hydraulic struts or not. What do you think? Does it get an hydraulic struts or no? I think it does not get, because the XUV700 does not get, but XUV500 got it long back. Let's see what does it have to offer. Struggling a bit. Oh my god, the bonnet is so freaking heavy in this. It's one of the most heaviest bonnet I've seen in a very long time after Toyota Fortuner. In fact, I think the bonnet of this is heavier than Fortuner for sure. You do not get any hydraulic struts, which means that you need to be dependent on your biceps to open this bonnet. I really wish Mahindra would have provided hydraulic struts, because it's not that easy. Okay, this is where we slot it. I'm going to tell you a statement and you're going to decide if it's a fact or a myth. Mahindra makes one of the best diesel engines in the country. of course it's a fact. Especially their M-Hawk series of engines are butter smooth. Ekdam makhan bole to makhan. And this engine produces 175 bhp of power and 400 Newton meter of torque. Can you believe that? In a Scorpio, 400 Newton meter, which is absolutely smashing. And just for reference, the other petrol counterpart produces 200 bhp. Khulja Sim Sim, one of those cars where the rear boot door opens like this instead of this. This is the boot space of the Mahindra Scorpio-N with the last row seats folded. How good is it? You can stuff in 2 big bags easily with chota mota extra things. But that said, what's more important is this being a full-fledged SUV, how is the boot space with all 3 rows folded up? Let's check that out. Let's check out the boot space of the Scorpio-N with all the seats up. Can you please pass the umbrella? Let's see if this is going to fit. 1 umbrella, 2 umbrella, 10 umbrellas. So 10 umbrellas is what you can stuff inside this car in the boot space, but anything more than that is going to be slightly challenging. Or at the max, 1 bag which is so thin that is customized for Scorpio-N's boot space, you can fit that. But apart from that, it's going to be very difficult with all rows up. And what's more important right now is how good is the 3rd row space, because if the 3rd row space is not good and if the boot is not good, then this dissolves the whole point of having the Scorpio. Why don't you go and buy the XUV300 facelift, which is going to come very soon. Cover this part of the Scorpio and entire this part except this tail lamp. The probability that you will mistake this for the XC90, the Volvo XC90 or the XC60 is way too high. And if I cover this part, the probability that you will mistake this for a Xylo is also way too high. That's how resemblant the new Scorpio-N is in terms of the rear design, especially with the Volvos. There are 9 out of 10 people who reply to our story saying that this is a Volvo, this is a Volvo. I know that it's a nice thing when people compare Scorpio to Volvo, but I think the resemblance is way too much than what people can accept right now. And then you have the request sensor for the boot, which is very surprising. I have never seen a request sensor for a boot. I've seen the request sensor for the 4 doors, but for a boot, never, which is good, which means that you actually do not need a key to open the boot. Just press this and the boot opens. And of course, you do get a rear wiper, and Mahindra giving the paramount importance for safety. You do get a couple of parking sensors in the rear as well. But what's nicer is Mahindra has not done, or rather overdone, in terms of the rear design like they have been doing for quite some time few years ago. I mean, the design philosophy has changed, it's more lean, it's better now. But yes, coming back to the point, this thin chrome strip on the rear tailgate, uske niche, it's actually very good, and especially this silver cladding makes it look slightly nice and better. So there are many things which are good in this Scorpio-N over the XUV700. I won't get into the details before Mahindra bashes me for that, but this is the logo which is neatly integrated, unlike the one in the XUV700 where it looks slightly out of place. And then this is the Scorpio-N badging. Not just Scorpio, this is N. N for, I don't know. So we got a feedback from Priyam Chaudhary that we didn't talk about panel gaps or door pockets or NVH in our reviews. So things are going to change now. So talking about the panel gaps are fairly consistent. There's very minute inconsistency somewhere in this part of the door with the other door, but that's it, it's negligible, and it's so much better than the earlier Mahindras or Tatas for that matter, that's for sure. A really good job done by Mahindra there in terms of the consistency of panel gaps. However, I wish the panel gaps were slightly minimum, but yes, they are consistent. So talking about the door pockets, these are the door pockets, and you can accommodate the 1 liter water bottle easily here and a couple of things here. So this is slightly flexible as expected, and that shouldn't be a problem at all. Mahindra bragged about the presence of shark fin antenna in the Scorpio-N, but honestly I can't see it properly from here. I'll do something, because it's a rugged body on frame SUV. Here we go. This is the shark fin antenna that you can see in the Scorpio-N if you make some effort to actually see this. And honestly, one more thing, not sure if you can see this, but the structure on top of the car is slightly rugged. That is done to improve the structural strength of the car. And I can see the sunroof here. It's not panoramic sunroof, but I can see the sunroof there very far. We'll go inside the car and talk about the sunroof. So this is the standard sunroof, which is one of the most important components inside a car today after an engine and battery and chassis. So this is a standard sunroof and not a panoramic sunroof, because Mahindra was like, hey, we are already offering a panoramic sunroof in XUV700 and half the features that are there in 700 are there in the Scorpio. What's the point if you stuff in a panoramic sunroof in Scorpio also? Why would anyone buy the XUV700 then, apart from many things like ADAS? So that's the reason, that could be one of the strongest reason Yes, so talking about the sunroof, it's a standard sunroof and Mahindra sunroof are actually quite good. We've been using one with the 2015 XUV 500 and it's reliable. There's some issues earlier with the water leaking, but abhi sab theek hai. So this is electronically controllable. So talking about the interiors of the Scorpio-N in general, I'll just tell you a very short two-line story. So when the spy shots of the interior started coming up, people started putting real stories and whatnot, and internet went gaga over the interiors because generally we have started having a perception about interiors being a very important parameter of the car. तो पहले क्या होता था कि everybody fell prey for the exteriors of the car, but now it's all about interiors. People love having good interiors. I'll come to the point. It's the coffee brown and black interiors that you get in the Scorpio-N, and in my humble 2 cents opinion, I think they look very good, and I'm thankful that Mahindra has distinguished this from the XUV 700, or else what we have seen is people plonking in same interiors more or less in most of the range of the cars. Mahindra has not done that. A big thumbs up there. This is the 18 centimeter infotainment system here. Space occupied by the black padding here, which kind of dilutes the experience of the otherwise nice cabin. You get vertically slated AC vents here, which look actually nice and premium. So hard plastics, of course. Are they cheap plastics? A big no. No, the plastics are not cheap, trust me on that. And in fact, you won't believe that Mahindra has actually put in extra effort to give leather padding on the Scorpio-N, which is very surprising from Mahindra's point of view. So this is the glove box here, which is decent enough, and I think there is option of cooling it. Yes, it's a cool glove box. I can see the vent there. And of course, one of the nicest things here is the Scorpio-N badge, Scorpion, Scorpio, whatever you want to call it, Scorpio-N badge here, which is nicely embossed next to the AC vents there. And of course, these are the grab handles in case you want to hold them when you're driving the car in 4x4 terrain. Of course, you need to hold the steering and not this. If you hold this, it's not going to drive. It's not ADAS enabled. So you'll have to hold this and do whatever you want to do. So a big thank you with my folded hands to Mahindra for actually not removing physical buttons completely from their cars, unlike most of the manufacturers. There are tons of physical buttons here. In fact, for home, there is this media video jo bhi hai. And then there are a couple of dummy buttons here. I wish that dummy buttons did not exist. And then there is a dedicated drive mode button here, which I'm actually seeing now for the first time. Very interesting. And there is a dedicated SOS physical button. Crazy, very good. And then there are two USB type C nahi, there are two USB chargers here, and then there's an indication for passenger airbag on or off. But what is more important is this, the presence of wireless charging today. Wireless charging are very important because phone batteries are drinking so much battery nowadays that wireless charging is very important. This is a rear wheel drive car, manual handbrake like this. You know what are we talking about? A perfect drift, isn't it? And then these are the provisions for your walkie-talkies. Just kidding, these are the provisions for cup holders, and these are the walkie-talkies that we bought, which are quite helpful. No, not promoting this brand in any way. They didn't offer ₹1 discount to us also. So this is a 6-speed gearbox. You get the 6-speed manual, 6-speed automatic transmission here, but this is a 6-speed automatic transmission, which we will talk about very shortly. And then talking about the steering, of course, this is the steering wheel, which looks like it's flat bottom, but it's not 100% flat bottom. I don't know why, but it's very meaty and nice. But I just wish that the leather here on the steering wheel was slightly more softer because it is thoda sa rough abhi. And then of course many buttons here, and I will really appreciate Mahindra because their quality on these buttons on steering wheel has improved so much in the last 5 years. The 5-year-old buttons used to get the tick sound. They were so bad, and now it's so much improved. Thumbs up on that. You can see the stitching on the steering wheel, which is very good. And then you have the chrome kind of finish here, chrome plus black finish on the steering wheel, which is very nice to hold. And these are the switches. Although they're good, but you know what, before driving this we actually drove the Porsche Macan, and those switches were next level good. Now don't bash me for comparing this to a Porsche, but I'm just telling you, they were amazing. So these are good, decent, but not the best. And next you have this Sony music system. Honestly, Mahindra went gaga about the Sony music system in the XUV 700 last year, and everybody has so much expectations. And I know for the fact that no matter what OEM is there for the music system, you need to have really good quality of speakers for the music system to be good, and that wasn't best of the best. In fact, it was average, and this also continues to be average. I'll show the music system to you later. So I think that's about it. And of course, these are the 6-way electrically adjustable seats, just in case you want to convert your Scorpio-N into a moving bed. and the under-seat support is actually very good, like we've seen in most of the Mahindra cars. And are the seats ventilated? No, the seats are not ventilated, no problem. So the contouring is absolutely smashing. I mean, absolutely smashing is not a good word, but the contour is very good. It's very supportive. I can see that the seats are actually hugging my body. Trust me, the seats are very good, very good, and they're going to be very helpful in long distance cruising. I think that's about the interiors. We have spoken quite a bit, last but certainly not the least. So these are the power window switches here with an option to control this. Okay, last one more thing. So these are the control for the volume, and these are slightly average, but you don't feel that premium feeling when you're using these volume controls here. Yes, that's about it. And of course, as expected, no auto dimming IRVM inside a Mahindra Scorpio-N, and this is your sunglass holder in case you want to keep the sunglass like this. And there are a couple of more switches here, one for this light, sunroof, and I don't know whatever is it, and these are the speakers here on top of your head. So talking about the infotainment system in general, this will not be the most intuitive or the most responsive infotainment system that you would have used. It's a 18 centimeter, almost 18 centimeter screen, but it's not bad at all. It does the job easily. It's not going to be much of a problem. So you have the best part, which Mahindra deserve a massive applause, is it's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a great boon, because no matter how sophisticated the car is, we really don't prefer those tangling wires anymore. So this is going to be much better than that. And yes, of course, you have a lot of options here, your phone connectivity options. Even the phone connectivity is very seamless. We just connected Madan's phone, as you can read here. This is Madan's iPhone, and it's very good. It's very seamless in terms of the connectivity that this infotainment system offers. And one thing that's very surprising, which I kind of did not understand, is there are some built-in applications, okay, in this. I'll just show that to you. And you have Just Dial, you have something called as horoscope, which is going to tell you the future. Basically, it will also tell you which is the next car from Mahindra. It's going to predict the future of everything on this earth. But there are no apps like Gaana.com or Savan, which is very surprising, because the apps that are already there inside this music system could have been much better. These are the apps that you will probably never ever use. I mean, there is Just Dial. I mean, why would I use Just Dial here? But nevertheless, no problem. There is something better than nothing. And there is this front view camera. Okay, interesting. So you can see there's somebody walking from Mahindra Adventure team there that is coming here. There is front view camera. I didn't know this at all. So basically you can zoom in the camera also, and that is quite strange, because you'll have to rotate your head like this and see what is there, but you can at least see what is there exactly in front of your car. I think this is a bug which will be resolved over time, because I don't find any sense why that is like that. And apart from that, you have an option to store your documents. There is climate control here, automated climate control, as we can expect. It's very fancy, dual zone climate control. In fact, that person there, if he's feeling cold, he can set the temperature higher. If I am feeling hot, I can set the temperature lower, which is nice. And of course, there are some basic controls here for the display, the brightness, and all those things which I've seen in many cars. I won't get into details there, because the video is already going to get very long, that's for sure. And then you have the Alexa enabled voice commands with what reverse. Alexa, open the sunroof.
Okay.
Alexa, close the sunroof, it's raining. You should see if it's raining or not. Sorry, and then you should open.
I don't know that one.
There is inbuilt navigation here, and to the best of my knowledge, this should be Map My India. And we haven't got an opportunity to use this. We'll use this tomorrow, the big day when we're going to do a crazy road trip tomorrow in this car. It's been raining like crazy since morning, but the blessing in disguise being that we can actually get to check out the wiper quality. Not every car has good wipers. For example, the Mercedes-Benz GLA has one of the poorest wipers we have seen. So how good are these wipers? Speed 1, Speed 2 and 3. They're actually very good, and they wipe out the glass completely. They wipe out the glass area completely. It's so clear that we can see that golden colored Scorpio, which is actually looking nice for a change. So this is the reverse camera quality of the Scorpio, and my god, I'm actually surprised, because back in 2015 Mahindra offered a much better reverse camera in the car, and now the reverse camera is not only smaller, but the resolution also has gone down. Okay, but what is more alarming is the reverse camera is actually getting stuck if you observe very closely. It's like people are getting stuck like robots, and then they are coming, which is dangerous because you will expect that everything is clear, you will go in full josh like this, and then you'll realize that the car has actually gone behind much more than what you're thinking, and it has gone and hit somebody. This is something that Mahindra should actually focus on improving ASAP. There is a simple formula of Scorpio. You don't get inside it, you climb inside it like this and close the door, which has a solid thud. So I know that Scorpio is something that we buy to drive, to enjoy the driving of it, the old school turbo whistle and all that, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to spend a decent amount of your time or bandwidth in the rear seat. How good is it? Honestly, it's really good. I'll tell you a couple of things that I have issues with first to start off with. Firstly, the seat is slightly firm. It's not very soft, it's slightly firm, which means that on longer durations, say 1000 kilometers, 1500 kilometers, you might feel slightly थोड़ा मतलब pain हो रहा है type से. But then apart from that, the under-thigh support is good, the headroom is infinite, and then the legroom is good as well. Knee room is like abundant. There's so much knee room, so much. It's that huge and it's very spacious. That's a given, that's for sure. And now you do not get panoramic sunroof, or else I would have told that because of the panoramic sunroof you won't feel claustrophobic, blah blah blah, all that. But you do not get panoramic sunroof, you just get a standard sunroof. But on the contrary, the window line is big. The windows are wide rather than tall. The windows are actually wide, and if you have observed one thing, they are completely the entire space of the window line can be used to see outside. They do not have a divider here as such. And of course you do have rear AC vents, and there is a blower control. There is no temperature setting for the rear AC controls. There is a blower control. So there is this type C charger that is there in the car, which is going to be very helpful in case you decide to charge your phone. So this is this rear center armrest. It's actually good and it doesn't go all the way down. Not sure which was that car. I think it was Honda City, where the rear center armrest, when it goes completely down, touches, and it spoils the whole concept of having an armrest at all. And then there are two cup holders here. They're square, which is triggering my OCD. They should have been round, and they have a provision to, there's some rubber provision like retractors to store or hold a cup properly without you having to spill your coffee. Talking about coffee, these seats are coffee in color with black surrounds. The theme of the car is coffee, brown and black, as Mahindra wants to call it. I still prefer the light beige. It's a personal opinion, but a lot of people still prefer darker colors like this, which are very easy to maintain in our soily conditions where everything gets spoiled very quickly. So how do you enter the magic area of the Scorpio? And magic area here means the third row space, because third row is going to be very important in this car. Did you see that? One touch, no two touch. It's too mainstream. Just one touch to enter the third row of the Scorpio-N. You know what? These rubber mats are the only mats which are clean right now because everything else is so dirty. This is how you enter it. In mats ko bhi pura ganda kar diya, so the whole car is spoiled completely. So, talking about the third row space, as you can see, for a person of my build, my knees are already touching the second row seats properly. Properly. So kids will be comfortable here for long rides, no problem at all. They won't complain, they won't crib. You can have kids in the last row, no problem, it will work. But if you're planning to have an adult, your friend or somebody, to sit in the third row for a long time, he might end up blocking you on WhatsApp, that's for sure. Because row seats are already touching my knees, and this may be problematic in the long run. Because this is aggravated because of the fact that you don't surprisingly get third row AC vents in this car, which is very shocking for me. In fact, when I checked this car yesterday, I searched for the third row AC vents for a good 2-3 minutes because I was not able to believe it that third row AC vents. That said, what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to sit here for some time and see how is the airflow of the air conditioning from the first 2 rows to here, because that is very important, or else what will happen, because we have such a beautiful climate in our country where temperatures go to 47, 48, 49, 50, whatnot, it might be problematic for people in the third row if the cooling isn't good enough. And Scorpio sells a lot in rural areas, so that is something that needs to be taken care of. But what Mahindra has done is कि they're like, चलो तुमको AC vents तो नहीं दिया, we will give you grab handles. इसी के साथ काम चला लो. So you do get grab handles, like I said, and apart from that, you have a small provision here. I don't know why is that provision there also. Probably you can keep your phone. I think this is a phone holder. You can keep your phone here properly. But apart from that, nothing much, nothing fancy here. There are these lights which are like so small. They're not switching on right now because the car is off. But there are two lights here. There's a grab handle here also. Speakers are coming all the way here. That's about it. Not very impressed with the third row of the Scorpio-N, to be honest. But for kids, trust me, they will not complain unless until they want a very cool environment in the back, because they'll be disappointed with the absence of AC vents. So we're finally driving the much awaited Mahindra Scorpio-N after a very long wait. How good is it? Slotted into the drive mode and here we go. Basically, this is a 2.2 liter engine producing 175 bhp of power and a whooping 400, okay, not supposed to leave hands like this, 400 Newton meter of torque from this engine, which is crazy. And especially if you are considering the 4x4 variant, the torque is so much that it's going to help you a lot, in simple words. Then coming back to the power delivery of this very, very renowned family of engines from the Mahindra family. Trust me, I'm a big fan of the MOC engines. Big fan, and I mean it. So the power delivery is actually very, very healthy in the mid-range. There's so much power, The power band is crazy in terms of the power delivery that is there in the mid-range. It's absolutely phenomenal. And tap the gas and this car sprints to glory. I mean, we've been driving from, which place is that, Chakan. So we've been driving from Chakan to here, Ambi Valley, and there's not a 1 second where you get bored of driving this car. It's so good in every possible way. I drove the petrol for 5-10 minutes last night, and trust me, I am not a fan of it for some XYZ reasons. I felt that, you know, it's not that 200 bhp that you expected. It does not translate into real world. The 200 bhp that's there on the paper in the M Stallion engines, but of course it has its own perks of being very silent. It's nice, I agree, the pickup is good and all, but 200 bhp is a lot, yeah, and that doesn't just translate there. But that said, this 175 bhp diesel is a diesel. It's very, very good. It's really good, and trust me on this, you are going to enjoy every bit of this car in case you happen to buy one for yourself. Just look at the way this car is sprinting to glory. There's another Scorpio that went by, that is the golden color Scorpio. The golden color Scorpio did not grow initially with me, but over a bit of time ऐसा लगा यार ठीक है, मैं उतना बुरा भी नहीं है. So we take a U-turn. Talking about the U-turn, this electric power steering, which Mahindra clearly shows in the presentations that it is light. अगर manufacturer खुद बोल रहा है कि the steering is light, then it has to be super light. And yes, it's very, very, very light. It's one of the lightest steering that I've ever used. And while this is a very good thing for many people who love steerings which are nice to drive, easy to maneuver and all, but I am not a big fan of the steering. I'm not a fan of the steering at all. So it misses out on that heaviness. It, especially in the lower speed, in the 40-50, it's not that great. I mean, that's it. It's fine. I mean, telling you, in fact, majority of the people are going to love this steering. They fall in love with it. They'll be like, Scorpio is so easy to drive. Scorpio is easy. It's big car hai, fir bhi itna easy chalane ko. They're going to love it because they understand the customers very well. They know what people want. They want a car that is easy, because people like you and me, if you're watching this, you're an enthusiast, I know that. So people like you and me are very less in this world who want a car which is heavy in terms of the steering feedback, who want a car which is very good to drive in terms of put more effort, enjoy the adrenaline rush on the curves like this with that heavy steering. That's not there in this. It's very light, the steering, and I really mean it. I won't tell it's very artificial in terms of feedback here. Honestly, trust me, the feedback is there in the steering. ऐसा गाड़ी you turn like this now, the car will turn. It's not like that Elite i20 where it doesn't even listen. Elite i20 is like, I don't give a damn, you turn the steering, I don't care. The steering is not like that. It is obedient. It will listen to you and it will turn, but it's nowhere close to that Mahindra legend steering that we had once upon a time, especially the hydraulic power steering of Scorpios, XUVs, next level stuff. It's not like that. Talking about gear shifts, of course. So when I drove the 6-speed 80 in the ASIN 6-speed AC in 80 in the XUV 500 long backs. मतलब before the 700 जो 500 था, in that I didn't like it. I thought lag and all noticeable. Then came the Thar. I fell in love with it. The 6-speed gearbox in Thar was very good, and the gearbox has just got better with this Scorpio. I'm telling you, it's a torque converter. I mean, people tell DCT, DSG, all that fancy words. Screw that aside. Even if it's a torque converter, if the gearbox is mated properly to the engine, if the tuning of the gearbox is good, you will love it. This is not a DSG, this is not a DCT, no dual clutch fancy stuff. Proper torque converter, exactly how it's supposed to be, and you will love it. The gear shifts are very good. I mean, very good bole to the gear shifts are nice. I mean, the lag is very minute. It's very minute. इतना minute कि 70-80% will be like, अच्छा इसमें तो lag ही नहीं है, पता भी नहीं चल रहा. How is the car changing gears and all that? It's fine. Everything is near perfect. I don't tell perfect for sure. Everything is near perfect. You won't have any complaints from the gear shift at all. That's for sure. So yes, very nice road indeed. Pumping up the gas, full throttle, and yes, you can hear the revs. I was coming to this, talking about the NVH levels of this car. Petrol is ultra silent. They tell na pin drop silent. You take a hairpin, pin, whatever safety pin, you drop it. You can hear that pin tongue. That is that silent. But this car, the diesel is not like that. But I'm okay with it. It's not at all loud. Trust me, it's not loud at all. So basically the NVH are very well controlled in this car. We went speeds up to 80-100, but there was no vibrations or whatever it is. Everything was smooth, everything went smooth, and yes, most of the things are actually good in terms of NVH. It's tap the pedal full like I did now, and then you'll feel like, oh, the car is like, acha, you're calling me, I'll wake up from sleep. It's like that. Otherwise, you won't even get to know. It's like very silent, just like most of the Mahindra's diesels. Of course, XUV 500 is noisy, but after that, the 700s and all, they're very nice and silent. This is much more silent than the Thar diesel. And talking about the turning radius, I mean, I showed you that time also, but look how easy it is to turn this car. One turn. Can it go? 2 turns. Look at the turning radius, dude. Scorpio, it seems. Scorpios are not supposed to turn like this. I mean, they're not supposed to turn so nicely. That's what I'm trying to tell. I will go from here because, or else the people here will think I'm gone mad turning the car like this. That's how easy the turning radius of this car is. You just saw. Freaking easy. Mad respect. People are going to love it. And Mahindra knows that very well. That's why they made the steering so easy. One finger, you can turn the car in one finger. Don't do it, but I'm just telling you. And I don't know why this grab handle is here. It doesn't make any sense to hold like this and drive like this. Okay, jokes apart. And so the next thing here is, of course, this is a rear wheel drive SUV. Of course, talking about body roll, which we will have that in voiceover shortly, but overall the car feels very composed. It doesn't feel like Scorpio at all, and for the good. I'm not complaining, it's for the good. The car feels nice and composed. So I want to point out that the braking is decent, but the brake pedals too feel spongy. Okay, why am I trying to sugarcoat things by telling it's decent? It could have been better, I'll be honest. It could have been better for sure. The braking is not that fancy. Just look at it. I'm just pressing the brake, and it takes a bit for the car to wake up and tell that, hey, you press the brake, because the brakes are slightly spongy. I won't deny that at all. Mahindra could have focused on the braking bit of it. It would have been one of the perfect driver's car out there.
Speaking of the ride quality, the suspension has been tuned to be on a softer side. Smaller potholes are easily gulped by the Big Daddy, and this will be appreciated by many folks, as Mahindras were not really courteous when it comes to taking you over bumpy roads. Although this ain't no magic carpet ride by any means, this genuinely aims to address the problems the earlier Scorpios tend to exhibit. This also means the chassis throw up some nasty surprises in terms of the lateral movements when you drive the Big Daddy of SUVs over undulations. For example, a series of large speed breakers on the road. Should you get ambitious with the throttle input, the thuds are translated inside the otherwise pin drop silent cabin, which is surprisingly damn silent for this Mahindra. The Scorpio was always known to boast of a lot of body roll. We set our expectations right, and boy, we weren't disappointed at all. Although Mahindra used a lot of physics terminologies at the launch to focus on the controlled body roll in the Scorpio-N, we must admit that it's not as cheesy and ambitious as it sounded. The Scorpio-N still inherits its DNA, but it's far less prominent now. Scorpio fanboys, including ourselves, will find this to be a big improvement over its predecessor. In a nutshell, the Scorpio-N is a serious attempt from the homegrown manufacturer to break the stereotype associated with the legendary Scorpio badge that was proud of some of the most noticeable body rolls in the Indian automotive segment.
Obstacle of the Scorpio-N off-road drive, and the car is slotted into 4L. It gets the 4-wheel roll low ratio electronically operable, and it's a proper articulation here. Let's check this out. It's going to be slightly scary, but oh. So this is a massive inclination. As you can see, the car is completely tilted. It's raining, so there's some rain water coming inside the car. Close the window and the car is completely tilted. Very surprised with the capabilities of it. I know that you guys have bared with me for a very long time in this video, so I'll keep the conclusion very short and simple. So pick the Scorpio-N over the counterparts if and only if you want the capabilities, the 4x4 capabilities of the Thar, while you want to have an attempt of the sophistications of the XUV 700. What I'm trying to tell you is this Scorpio-N offers the perfect balance between the ruggedness of the Thar and the sophistication of the XUV 700. It's a phenomenal attempt by the homegrown manufacturer to bring out the best in terms of the 4x4 capabilities while still retaining something that every person would want to take to office from Monday to Friday to the nearest adventure zone on a weekend. That's it. There are some nitbits in this car. For example, the absence of the third row AC vents and the steering being too light is something that might keep the enthusiasts away. But if you are looking for one car that's going to fulfill everything that you want, or at least 90% of the things that you want, then head to the nearest Mahindra showroom and book the car ASAP, because the waiting period of this car is going to be as insane as XUV 700, that's for sure. Just like the KGF movie, the legendary iconic KGF movie had chapter 1 and 2, our video is going to come with a chapter 2 as well, because the Mahindra Scorpio-N is a very important car. We took an audacious move to drive this car from Mumbai, from Lonavala, all the way back to Bangalore. Yes, you heard that right. Stay tuned for the chapter 2 while we head back to Bangalore in the 175 horses and of course 400 freaking Newton meters of torque.